Ladies and gentlemen, the Americans line up to do a fateful charge at this British fort. They need to take this British fort from, obviously, the British. In order to win this battle today, this fort is standing in their way, but they have brought quite the army to fight the British. The British up here on this hill, now firing rockets, a big rocket exchange going back and forth between the British and the Americans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Revolutionary War. I hope you guys are all having a great Memorial Day so far. Thank you all to the veterans who have laid down their lives in service of this country. So thank you guys so much for that. But let's hop right into this battle. So coming from the American side, they are mostly consisting of line infantry. But here we go. We can see this light infantry starting to move up to the front. They are going to be a part of the first wave to charge that British fort. Most of this American line infantry, which is going to be their more elite infantry, is sitting in waiting to move up to attack the fort. But over here, we can also see more light infantry pushing up, some long rifles, and more light infantry pushing up to attack this absolutely beautiful fort. Now up top, the redcoats are fully prepared to hold this thing. They have lines upon lines of light infantry, light grenadiers, and line infantry, and they also have some rocket batteries that you can see are already shooting back and forth at each other. It is beautiful. It really is. The rocket batteries, as you can see, picking up a couple of kills here and there. And now the line infantry is starting to push up slowly behind the cannons here. The cannons are going to try to set up to punch a hole into one of these walls, so then their guys can run through, and it will disrupt how the British can move along the walls. But to do so, they need to push up into a pretty dangerous position up here on these heights to get a clear shot at those walls. But moving forward, is this American light infantry here pushing to the fort, looking absolutely beautiful in their beautiful blue. Let's see if they can't turn the tide here and start to push forward as they have reached their position. The long rifles and the other light infantry have also made it to the front. After a long run, they have finally made it up. Now, the first cannon has gone down. Two cannons have gone down in one of these 24-pound howitzer foot artillery units, and they are wavering, looking like they are going to, break and start to turn tail and run. But this other 24-pounder is still doing well. Now, more and more rockets starting to fly into these American lines. It is looking very much like they need to get going as the first little bit of Americans start to fall here. Losing two cannons there is not looking good for their chances at all, but they still have one 24-pounder left, and they are going to continue to push up this hill, as you can tell by the long riflemen starting to set up. And I believe these long rifles are going to fire the first shots of this battle here relatively soon. Here we go, set up nicely. And here they go. The first shots of the battle from the Americans ring out up into this wall. See if they got any kills. Nothing really looking like. Most of the rounds did just go into the front part of that wall, as the British now return fire, cutting down a couple of the long riflemen out here. And so now this light infantry also pushes up to the front. The front wave is starting to now skirmish the enemy lines, trying to take out the general, it looks like here, getting a kill on the general unit. This general unit now down to 26 men. More and more rocket fire coming in from both sides. This is looking beautiful. The smoke in the air from the American lines, putting down fire. Cannon shot ripping through the center there. The Americans are doing their best to set up this picket line and get things moving. The cannon now almost on top of that hill where they need it to be. More and more shots are ringing out from both sides. The Americans constantly having to reset here. Long rifles on the edge shooting out. Now let's go see if that line infantry has started to push up, and they have now. The line infantry pushing up onto the flanks, running out of the trees on the left to set up what appears to be over here. And over on the right, more line infantry pushing up as well to push up over here on the right. And the enemy general, the British general, has been killed out front here. The general trying to maybe run a little bit of distraction out front does get killed. And now he's going to charge forward. His unit, or what's left of it, is going to charge forward into these American lines. but they end up getting absolutely gunned down in the process. A very, very big win for the Americans as they begin to push even more forward. And these cannons have now set up and are going to start to skirmish down these walls as more and more rocket fire starts to rain down on them as the British try to take out these cannons before a hole in their wall can be sustained. But you can see every single one of these shots is doing a tremendous amount of damage to these walls, and the Americans have also started to push up even closer now. The light infantry now starting to take pot shots at that wall. Saw a cannonball go flying by the screen there. Things are looking very, very good for the Americans as it stands, being able to push up to the wall with their first wave and being able to hold the outskirts. Now the line infantry is pushing up on the right here, pretty much unopposed, looking like they're going to try to take out that rocket battery up there. As the long rifles still continue to put down shots, a lot of the bullets going into the wall though. This wall is now at 53%. Absolutely crushing there. A lot of those British soldiers have ended up dying up here on that wall from that cannon barrage. So the cannon's doing exactly what they need to do here. Nice volley into the front there, picking up a couple more kills on the Grenadiers. More and more rocket attacks going through both ways here. Ooh, a little bit of friendly fire from the rockets, actually. Oh, big rocket hit into the side of this unit, picking up a couple more kills. But this line infantry is going to start to scale the walls. As this line infantry pushes up, we are going to see the first bit of Americans breach the walls, throwing their treble hooks up top. They are going to scale up this wall and get into the melee fight. The first wave has reached the walls, ladies and gentlemen. The Americans are getting up the walls. The line infantry now moving up to do the same as these guys charge the British Rocketeers, cutting them down with their bayonets. A very, very easy win here for the Americans. Getting rid of one of those two rocket batteries is going to be very, very big for the remainder of this fight. But now the Americans are climbing over the walls, ladies and gentlemen. The first wave has hit, and the first hole in the walls has been attained. A big chunk of British lay slain up here. Very, very beautiful gap made. And now, like I said before, the first wave has made it, and the second wave is now pushing up as well, seizing the opportunity. More rocket fire coming in. Big hits into this group here, doing a decent amount of damage. But the damage is already being done. Now light infantry is pushing out the breach, trying to cause a little bit of a distraction here. But the gatehouse has been captured by the Americans up top, who are now starting to shoot down below at this light infantry that's trying to charge up the wall and contest the Americans that are coming up and over the walls in a massive wave of men over here. Oh my goodness. This flank over here is very much up for grabs. The Americans now scaling up the walls over here to little to no competition. Now the British line infantry is going to try to make their way up, but the Americans have already started to climb. These Grenadiers are fighting the Americans at the walls, and the Grenadiers, being the more elite unit here, are putting up quite the fight against the Americans, but the Americans, having more numbers, are making decently quick work. Now back over here, the Americans are still just putting down fire on this light infantry, absolutely decimating them from up on the walls, doing exactly what they need to do. More rocket fire coming in, doing a decent amount of damage there to the British units, but the Americans are starting to push down the ramp here, as you can see, lining up in kind of like a charging position, and there they go, charging down the ramp to meet the British head on, and they are pushing hard. Pushing very, very hard to try to secure this front. And now these Americans are trying to move around back, maybe to get a little bit of a flanking fire on that line infantry. But since the gatehouse is captured, Americans are now charging through the gate. The line infantry charging through the gate to take down the British here in the center, as this light infantry still continues to put down a bunch of fire. The British victorious on the backside here, cutting down an American unit that is now shattered and running off the field of battle. Things are starting to look a little bit more dire here for the Americans, but they are scaling these walls with little to no issues and getting set up in beautiful positions to lay down the pain on their British foes. And now this unit looks like it is going to try to charge in to help out as more and more rocket fire rains down on the walls here, Beautiful. The Americans have also secured the town center, beating back the rocket troop and that light infantry that was getting cut, absolutely butchered over here by that American light infantry. So very, very beautiful result here for the Americans, capturing the town center, or the fort center, with a very, very good fight in the melee here in the center. And the Americans cut down what's left of the British, and they capture the town center. Now this is going to be very, very bad for the British, as they need to do something to recapture it, as their men are continuing to try to hold the breaches. They are doing a decent job of holding the that is trippy. But they are doing a decent job of holding the Americans up here on the stairs. But how long will that last, as more and more Americans just continue to push down this ramp here and try to push the British back? Eventually the Americans will make it down, and the first Americans are starting to make it decently far down. Once they make it down this ramp, a lot of Americans will be set free from this never-ending glitchiness. And there it is, the big charge down to make it down the ramp, and they did it, ladies and gentlemen. More rocket fire coming in. They make it down this ramp and are now spreading out to try to cut down this British line infantry unit. Now back over here, the Americans have set up to support their fellow Americans that are fighting up here on the walls, and they are gunning down a lot of these British that are exposed over here on the side, as this fight also intensifies up here on the walls. The Americans have the walls, they have the town center. Now it is just finishing off these last little bits of British, and with the last little bit being finished off, that will be a very, very, very nice win for the Americans. But the British are still holding firm, as more and more Americans just try to push deeper. You can see another bayonet charge coming in, trying to just push them back even further, as yes, just the British are continuing to hold out up here, just refusing to break. They're just sitting up here holding like is going out of style. Over here, the Americans have fully pushed down the stairs and are now just trying to push out of this little gap that they have, or this little breach that they have, trying to be able to push forward. But the British are proving to be quite the foe here. And there it is, the last little bit, pushing forward down the ramp, and they are pushing forward. But the Americans see that there is a beautiful chance for a flank here. And this unit of line infantry here, they're just kind of shooting up into the floor. So they decide, you know what? Let's go help our boys out over here. I think it happens right now. I don't know. But more and more Americans are now firing by rank over here. That's pretty sick. Firing by rank up into this British, this last British unit up here, this British line infantry unit that's still somehow just holding on, cutting down the Americans, which is crazy that they're still holding on. Completely outnumbered. They even shattered an American long rifleman unit, and they're still just holding on up here. That's crazy. Still firing by rank? Yeah, still firing by rank. Oh, this dude just popped a shot. Here it is. You might find when ready. Oh, more rocket fire coming in. But yeah, guys, this is going to be the end of the video here. The Americans do end up taking the fort, and here's that bayonet charge I was telling you about. So I'd like to thank you guys all so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys go down below, hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way on this channel. And also make sure you guys go and follow me over on Twitch. We do a lot of live streams on Twitch, so make sure you guys go and follow over there. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. And of course, I will see you all next time. Peace!